I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Welcome to another Unique Couple Sunday Night Live. It is a brand new year, so it's brand new things happening, brand new conversation, brand new people, places, couples, strategies, things that you can do to really improve your relationship. If you are here with us live, you know the drill. Go ahead, hashtag Live Squad in the chat. Those of you who are watching, those of you who are listening, stay tuned and go and share. Tell a friend, tell a couple, tell someone so that they too can improve their relationship, their marriage, their life. Because, hey, we need a brand new everything. Of course, we're going to take what worked in 2022, but we want to start with some new things in 2023. And so we're all excited. I'm excited about our guest today. Hello, my name is Linda Wright Patrick. I am co-host of Unique Couples Everywhere with my husband Vito. And today I am on and sharing because ladies, guess what? You need this conversation. And men, we know you're listening as well. Your husbands as well. So this is going to be some great tips that you will appreciate that your wife will be tuning into today. So we have with us Kim Kendall De Silva. She's going to tell us about all of the names, right? She's going to tell us about that all the way from Trinidad. So you know we have our Caribbean flavor up in here. We're all excited about that. So Kim, welcome. Thanks for joining us on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live.
Thank you very much. It's always lovely to connect with other people from the Caribbean. I actually met another couple last year from Jamaica, so that was exciting for us as well. See, we're everywhere.
Yes. Awesome. And we love it. We love connecting with, the next time we have to bring your husband on, we love connecting with people. And yes, it can be from anywhere. We haven't had, I don't think we did have anyone from Trinidad on us yet, but we are traveling the Caribbean, all over the Bahamas and definitely parts. So the United States is like on lock. I think we have to do the count to see how many states we have, but we have been to England. We have been to, I think we're going to Australia soon. So we have a whole lot of places that we're going and people we're meeting from different places. So it is great to have you. So Kim, you are working with women. You're encouraging them with their relationship, letting them know, how they can kind of like be the best of themselves in their relationships and their marriage. So I want you to tell us more about you before we get into our topic today, how to reconnect with your spouse. Tell us a little about you, when you got married, kids, family, and of course I said you were in Trinidad, but I don't think you also travel and live somewhere else. So let us know a little about that.
Wow. I have been with my husband for 22 years. No, my goodness. This month, we would have met 23 years ago.
Awesome.
And we've been married this year will be 14 years that we've been married. We have 3 boys, ages at the moment 6, 9, and 11. Actually, we did live in England for a few years, and when we started talking about, oh well, maybe we should get married, and the consensus was all the free babysitters live halfway around the world, so maybe it's time to go back. It might be a little bit easier, and I have to say I think it makes a big difference. I do know, even like from my own experience and from people I've spoken to, it does help a lot when you do have people around you that you can rely on, not just to help support you in your relationship, but also to ditch the kids on. I mean, we love them, but
we need that break sometimes.
We need that break. We really do. So and so I mean, obviously there are ways, you can there are things you can do if you don't have that support system nearby, but it definitely has a positive impact for sure. So a little bit more about what I do. I actually started this through my work in language acquisitions, Spanish language acquisition and Latin American cultural awareness. So I do a lot of teaching and coaching around language and culture. And a lot of my clients on that front were women in intercultural relationships, where it was they were trying to really understand their partner. Their partners were from Spanish speaking cultures, and they were really trying to understand, you know, the language nuances, especially with extended family, with, parents-in-law, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But what was coming up more and more, because I would really dig deep with them in terms of trying to figure out why they were signing up to do this language coaching, and it always boiled down to building a stronger relationship with their partner. And then a lot of issues that would come up, and they would be saying, well, this is a language and cultural barrier. I'm like, well, no, this is actual, like,
Real husband and wife, right? That's like
that
normal.
he's no, well, exactly, it's exacerbated by the language and culture, but sorry. You can learn the language, you're still going to have that problem.
Yes.
and, it
Wow.
really was, yeah, it stemmed out of that and kind of helping them through that. And eventually I realized, but I started enjoying the relationship aspect of it much more, because keeping families together is very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it really became the focal point of what I was doing. So at some point, I should say some point last year, I switched the language work to corporate work, and I focused the one-on-one work with ladies who were in that space of, I love my husband, I want to be with him, but I just don't know how to talk to him. We don't do anything anymore. We don't go out anymore. We only talk about the children. We're always arguing about stupid things, the same stupid arguments over and over again. But I love him. I'm like, well, okay. That's
Let's
the
work on
important
that.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
let's see
welcome to married life. Language barrier or not, right?
how exactly.
So we teach, and in our Unique Couples Marriage Club, we also
Right.
encourage having those date nights, having the time for yourself, having time and learning your spouse. Kind of like getting that. My husband liked to say, getting that PhD, or getting that degree, right? That
Yep.
spousology degree. Learning about your spouse, and sometimes I think we kind of like miss that because we're
Mhm.
focused on, I guess thinking that, hey, we love each other, we come together, and then hey, that's the rest of the story, and they live happily ever after. But happily ever after comes with work, and it doesn't matter if you have language barrier. It's just something
Mhm.
added on top of what you would normally have as couples, and it's not something that cannot be overcome. It's something that you can definitely work on and change. And so, whether for those of you who are watching, joining us live, thanks for joining. Good to see you, Julie, Gia, Tammy. All of you, go ahead, put your questions in the chat as well. Let us know the questions that you have. We know that we also had a couple that came on, and they were kind of like with that same mix of, I think it was a
Mhm.
cultural issues and stuff like that,
Mhm.
different races
Yeah.
coming together. And so we've seen that with couples, we've seen that with regular couples who don't have that language barrier, and they've
Just
come with these issues as well. But those of you who are joining us, go ahead, share, like, leave your questions in the comments. Let us know if you
Mhm.
have any questions. We will try to get to it during the conversation. If not, we will definitely get back to you in the comments. So put those questions in the chat and let us know. And then, of course, show Kim some love, and let us know your takeaways even as we talk. So, Kim, so you're working with
Mhm.
these ladies, and now you decide to kind of like branch off, because we know relationships are the foundation of kind of like everything we do. If you're
They
working in
are.
corporate, if you're doing any sort of thing, you still have relationship, and that's something that we need to work on. So let us know. We're talking tonight about how to reconnect with your spouse. So what are some of the advice and things that you tell the ladies that come to you when you work with them, and how can some of the ladies here who are watching and listening, what can they learn, which can you tell them so that they can try some of these things? And we say it's like a watermelon. Hey, take what's for you and spit out the seed. Like, take what's for you, or try, be willing to try new things and
Mhm.
spit out what doesn't work. Okay, so
Exactly. And
yeah,
it's never, I always say to it, it's always weird the first time you try on something. So maybe it won't be comfortable, but
yeah.
maybe with some practice it will get more comfortable. So there are 5 things that I generally start them off with, or just to kind of see where they are on that spectrum. And they range from really simple to, maybe something that requires a little bit more work. So things like being complimentary, saying thank you, speaking kindly, not speaking about their relationship with other people,
Mm-hmm.
and going to bed at the same time. I find like those are areas that we can start with to
Mm-hmm.
really see where things are at that moment. So for example, the being complimentary. You might say, well, that's so mundane, but it's actually not. It really isn't. It's something that we take for granted, or we think we do it, but are we really doing it? So I don't know if you've ever read
Mm-hmm.
any of the statistics around the whole thing about for every one negative interaction, you should have
Yep.
five positive interactions. Right. Okay. So
Yes.
I remember once I was so like, okay, I had that number in my mind. Fine, fine, fine. And then I was listening to I think it was Joyce Myers. I can't say for sure. And one of the things that she'd said was, you can save a marriage by complimenting your spouse 5 times a day. I thought, who has time to tell somebody a compliment 5 times a day? You know what I mean? We're not living in COVID times anymore. We're back out for the most part.
Are
But
together, right?
exactly. And believe me, when we were stuck together, nobody wanted to be complimenting each other five
No,
times
it
a
was
day.
more of something else.
Exactly. So, but I thought about it, and I started to kind of there are some issues to work around with that, right? So first
Mm-hmm.
of all, where are these compliments coming from? Well, you may literally have to sit and make a list of these compliments. You may have to sit and think, what do I like about my partner? What do I respect about them? What do I love about them? Make that list.
Yeah.
Fine. That's where it will come from. I have some people who will say, well, I'm just so angry at him. There's nothing I really
I don't want
want
to
to
say
do.
anything. Yes.
Exactly, right? So I'm like, well, in that case, ask your children, the younger ones, especially, not the teenagers. They could be a little bit, but sometimes the younger ones are more generous. So what do you like about your dad? What do you like about your mom? And you add that to your list.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, here's the hard part, depending on where you are. Tell them. Work up to the five is a bit much. If you haven't even done one in a while, start with
Yeah,
the one.
one is good. Yeah, just start somewhere.
Start somewhere, exactly. Uh, Send a text message, leave a note for them to find. And I'll tell you something that, this one might sound weird. I have actually done this one myself. When things are really, really difficult and you find it hard to verbalize that level of positivity,
Hmm.
tell them when they're sleeping.
Ah, wonderful.
Boy, yeah, you're not doing it for them. You're actually doing it for you to get you in that more positive headspace. So I remember once being really irritated with my husband. I think I'd been about 2 days. And at one point, I just leaned over and gave him a kiss while he was asleep. I'm like, that's not even for you. That's for me to get back into a good frame of mind so that when we wake up in the morning, I will be, a more positive person, a happier person, and I can relate to you in a better way. And that's what that does, because
Makes a
there's
difference.
exactly. And it's
Yeah.
the idea of, if you keep waiting to feel good
Yeah.
before you do something good, it might never happen. So
That
sometimes,
is definitely, that is definitely true because, and then of course, with a whole lot of things in relationship, we're waiting for our partner to do the things that we want instead of us trying to, be 100% us in the relationship, be
Mhm.
100% of everything that we need to be and what our spouse needs. We are looking for them to do it. So, when he does it, then I'll do, or when she does it, then I'll do, but it doesn't work that way. We
It
have to be
does.
100% whether or not they're giving their 100%, and that is a little it requires a,
Exactly.
a different mindset, right?
It
And I
does.
love that one. Yes.
Yes. It's the whole thing about, no, in this case, it really is me first.
Hmm.
It can't be you first. It has to be me first. 'Cause if I'm the one complaining, I need to be the one to do something about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I kind of link that compliment, those giving those compliments, to saying thank you. because it's
Mhm.
the same thing about creating that positive loop, staying focused on the things you're grateful for, staying focused on the things that are going well. So it could be as simple as they bring you a cup of tea. Well, say thank you. And then you might say, well, they know I mean thank you. It's been all this time. But that's the whole point. Because all this time, we get a bit complacent, and complacency is the number one romance killer. So express your thanks, and it doesn't have to be through words. It could be through things like a smile, a hug, a kiss, a squeeze of an arm or a leg, a moment of appreciation when you're eating something they've cooked. you know
Yes.
it's yeah, it
Get
really.
all the angles, just to make sure, like, get all the angles. Sometimes
Exactly.
you say it, sometimes you do it with your face and expression, sometimes you do it with a touch. Just kind of like get all the angles in there when you can. Make sure they really feel that in multiple ways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you
Definitely.
know what? It helps. Again, the compliments, saying thank you, what it does, in a way, it's rewarding positive behavior. In a way, it's
Yeah.
rewarding the behavior you want repeated. So pay attention to it. Make note of it. It'll come back. What else do we have? Speaking kindly to each other.
Mhm.
Now, as women, we are very sensitive to how we are spoken to. We listen to the words, we listen to the tone, we watch the body language. And I have to say something that, very often, and I am guilty of this. I'm not saying that oh, I'm so special. And no, there are ways that I will speak to my husband sometimes that if he spoke to me like that, I would be so irritated.
I know what you're talking about.
I have to kind of check myself. I'm like, what am I saying? How am I phrasing this?
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about communication a lot. Now, I also talk about actions a lot because I find that sometimes we get so bogged down in what are the words, we forget about how are we behaving, and a lot gets judged based on behavior.
Yes.
But, that said, when we are speaking to our partners and we have an issue to resolve, you again, me first.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking about, I didn't like how something played out, I don't attack with, I hate when you do this.
Hmm.
It's more like, okay, what can I address here? I'm like, all right, maybe I took this the wrong way, but this is how I felt when this happened.
Yes.
And
Using
again,
those iMessages makes a difference.
exactly. It really, really does. And then pay attention to how you speak about your partner with other people when they're not there. Um, and I don't mean that even just like with outsiders, even around your children. How are you referring to your partner? How are you talking around them? You know, because children pick up a lot. So that's another thing that we need to be a little bit wary of.
Yeah.
And so. Um, but then that does lead into the next point about talking about your relationship with other people, which can be a very, very dodgy area. Now,
Definitely. Like one of the biggest mistakes you can ever make. Yep. Go ahead.
exactly, exactly. Now, I totally understand you need to vent. There are times when he or she has totally, completely irritated you beyond all measure, and you just need to let off some steam.
Hmm.
Okay, but before you pick up the phone and call your friend or call your mother, don't call your mother. Don't call her.
Number one rule: don't do it. Don't do it.
Exactly.
Don't do it. They'll always remember. They'll never forget, and you can never be in a better space. It's always
Ex-
that space that they have you involved in that bubble when you're like I'm so over that. Like we got over that. We're past that. Like we're sleeping together. Like we're enjoying stuff, and then you still remembering what happened and what he did. And he didn't even do it to you. He did it to me. No, I'm past that. So don't tell your
Mhm.
mother.
Linda, that is it. That is it right there. And then what have you done? You've created this wall now
Yeah.
between your family or your friend and your partner, you know? And then in these conversations, sometimes, an issue that might be a 6 or a 7 gets escalated all the way up to a 9 because
Mhm.
you're just focusing on the negative things. And then again, because we're human, we're more likely to focus on the negative thing.
Yep.
So our friends, our family are thinking, well, what kind of relationship are you in? Because every time you talk about this man or this woman, all you're talking about are bad things.
Yep.
So yeah, if you absolutely and I still don't see why you need to, but if you really, really, really need to tell a story about something that's going on, couch it. What was the actual context of the situation? Make sure you also point out good things your partner has done before you just start focusing on the negative. And to avoid all of it, I know not everyone likes to journal. I'm not telling you go get a journal, but get a piece of paper and a pen, write your problem down on that piece of paper or pen on that piece of paper. Write an email to yourself. Read it in the morning. Is it still bothering you? Probably not. But if it isn't, take that paper, rip it up, throw it out, delete the email. And if the thing is still bothering you, well, then you know what? Talk to the other person who was involved,
Yeah.
not somebody outside. So, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. That is a real issue, and those tips are definitely um, going to work. I see. Yes, we have some hearts and persons responding and definitely liking those tips. I know they're going to definitely use it. I know Julie is definitely going to use it, and Gia, right? Yes, yes, Tamika. Thanks a lot. So go ahead. Those of you who are watching, remember to share. We are on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. It's a brand new year. It's a brand new you. Yes, hopefully, a brand new you, and you're doing things to be a better wife, a better spouse, a better parent, even, because some of these things you can
Mhm.
even use in any relationship. Hey,
Yeah.
you want to bring out, not only you're talking about yourself, but you're talking about who you are in this relationship. And so you can go ahead and compliment instead of criticizing your children. You can go ahead and speak kindly and positively to them, and not um, say all of these negative things in the front of other people or around other people, or telling them about your loved one.
Mhm.
Trying to find other ways and other things to do it. So I love the idea of just writing that down, journal. I love journaling. That's a part of, like, I have, like, whatever, like, years and years of journal. If I could, I think I'd
Mhm.
probably have a journal for every month. That's how much I've been writing. But so if you, like Kim said, hey, if you need to write it down on paper and write it down and tear it up and burn it or whatever after, go ahead. But we need that pause time. Sometimes,
Mhm.
you're in the moment and you might feel angry and upset and you just want to lash out. You just want to let it out. But sometimes
Exactly.
we have to, find a way to do that, but don't go in the attack mode and tell your friend, or in the attack mode and just kind of like lay it on your spouse. There's sometimes we have to take that pause, and in that pause it could be, taking time to write, like Kim said, taking
Mhm.
time to,
Yeah.
think about it.
Think
Think
about it, please. Yes.
So you had some more tips for us, Kim?
I have one more. So
Yes.
this one is specific to an intimate relationship, a romantic relationship. So this one is about going to bed at the same time.
Mm.
So,
So this
and I
is for the couples. You're saying
this
going to
for the
bed at
couple
the same time, meaning together. Or
together.
yes,
Yeah.
okay.
So, and I mean, I imagine a lot of your viewers are in this space as well. They're working, they have children to take care of, sometimes they have elderly parents to care for. Some of them they have their own businesses, and the schedules are crazy. And then
Yeah,
people just have certain preferences. Who likes to wake up late? Who likes to wake up
yes.
early? I mean,
I know about it.
yes, exactly. Now, if everything else is going fine and this is not an issue, then great. But if you're in that space where you're looking to reconnect with your partner, one of the best places to start is check your bedtime.
Mhm.
So, why I say that? You see, it's not just the going to bed part, it's also getting ready for bed. Now, think about it. When you start to get ready for bed, you're leaving the day behind. Very often you're dropping the masks that you wear throughout the day, the employee or the boss or the mother or the father, and you just come back into that calm, hopefully, space of just you, just your partner, nothing else, less distractions around. That's a really nice, comfortable space for you to share. It's a space where you become more vulnerable. It's a space that is actually quite sacred between you and your partner. Now, this space is also a place where conversations can happen, not forced ones. The fact that you're just there together in the same space. If somebody has something to say, they can say it and you're there to answer. You get into bed, fine. You might be reading to relax before you go to sleep. Somebody might be scrolling on their phone before they go to sleep. I'm not a huge fan of televisions in the bedroom, but if it's there, you might be watching something to relax again before you fall asleep. But there now you have the opportunity for, like, body parts to touch. You have legs
Yes.
touching, hands touching, and yes, all of this as well increases the chance of intimacy. And again, let us not downplay the importance of sex in a romantic relationship. That's the thing that makes this relationship different.
Different. Yes, we're not roommates. Hello.
We're not exactly right. So let's not pretend it's not important.
Yes.
And the thing is, for many women, we thrive on the emotional connection. But let's not forget our partners, especially our male partners, they
Hmm.
thrive on physical connection as well. And we
Yes.
need both in that
Hmm.
relationship. So,
Definitely.
yes, let's not downplay it. Let's give ourselves the best opportunity to enjoy that space and to enjoy each other, to enjoy the emotional and physical connection. So, again, we come to the issue of, well, this is so hard to do.
Yes.
Okay, well, decide, you know, what is your bedtime? Is it 10 o'clock? Is it 11 o'clock? Or when you wake up in the morning and you decide your bedtime is 11 p.m., fine. Reverse engineer your day. Make sure everything you do is leading up to that 11 o'clock cut off time that you are getting ready for bed, whatever time you've set.
Hmm.
If it's really difficult, talk to your partner about it. Two heads are better than one. You can work together to figure out what is this bedtime. Okay, children end up in your bed, or you end up sleeping with a child. Try again tomorrow night.
Yes.
If you need to get help, get those kids out of your bed. I had three. I understand. I know. But as soon as I could pop them out, we
God.
did them. Yes. And
Listen, like we took advice and we did that with our first two. Like we never had an issue with them being in our
mhm,
bed ever. Like we just trained them from day one. It's like, no, this is your bed, this is your and you stuff. So they've always been kind of like out of the bedroom, like
mm,
not an issue. Like they know
right.
their space and then we had the third one. So we had three
Yes.
kids. So and then we had the third one. And it's like I think when you get more comfortable and you get up a little kind of like older,
Yes.
because there's like a 10-year gap between our second and the third child. And it's like
Oh, wow.
okay, like it just seemed like it's just so much easier to say, okay, you know what? Yeah, you just kind of like lay there because it's just too stressful to think about
No,
moving
yeah.
and stuff, and you get all into
Mhm, mhm.
into that habit of just
Yes.
having them there, and it affects everything else. And so I know about it. I know
Mhm,
doing it the right way, and then I surely do know the pulling teeth that happens when you do it the wrong way. And so I just love to encourage couples with everything. Like start right. Like even like having this conversation at the beginning of the new year. Like start everything right. Like the strategies here that Kim is talking about. Like
mhm.
start that right. Like start that now because the whole year is going to be something else. But if you get those tips and strategies, those habits established now, it kind of makes everything else smoother. But when
It
you go wrong, oh geez, it's just so it's like torture. And so our
does.
daughter's like 6, and she's finally we had a time when she was like, it was like, no, it's not happening.
Mhm.
She still finds a way coming back in at night and stuff. It's like, girl, do you ever sleep straight through the night? Like you need to do that. Like who doesn't? But so it's really interesting. You have to start right. If you
You
don't,
do.
it's gonna mess up everything.
Or you make sure you have a guest room.
Yeah.
This is what it's
We have
like.
to go and hide sometimes. Sometimes we hide and find different spots to, you know, to
We do.
connect, like
We do.
to hide away from
I
her.
do.
Anything that works. Like we get so
Anything.
creative now. This is like, like how are we gonna duck her now? Like,
Yes.
oh, what are we gonna do tonight to kind of like it's just fine. But yeah, she's
Exactly.
learning. She just needs to get that habit set.
Mm.
She'll be
Mm.
fine. But yeah,
You
sometimes
see,
you have to do
yeah,
it.
you
Hmm.
had the commitment to it though. It wasn't a matter of like, oh, this is just how it is.
Yeah,
No. Yeah, that's the issue. You may be having the problem about the your one of your children sleeping in your room, but once you recognize that no, this isn't how it has to be, and that you're
yeah.
making some effort to kind of work around it, then that's the key. You two are committed to finding a solution.
Yes, being
One,
intentional about that.
exactly. So
Definitely. So I hope everyone got those tips and strategies in on ways to connect with your spouse. This has definitely been a juicy, juicy conversation, powerful. I have to go back and rewatch this myself as well, and get those points down. So go ahead, those of you who watch, share the tips, your takeaways in the comments. Put those in what you got, because definitely the bedtime together is a big one.
mhm,
And not going and kind of like sharing and venting with everyone, because sometimes misery likes company.
that's right.
Person you vent into might not be the person that you definitely need to. And there are people here to help. And so you want to go to the coaches, you want to go to the counselors, you want to go to the persons who are professional and who are called to deal with those situations, instead of just going to family members and random friends to talk about issues. And sometimes the only advice they can give you is the wrong advice.
The wrong advice,
The
exactly.
wrong advice.
Mhm.
And you don't need people to be getting that information and then taking sides, because guess what? You're gonna have Christmas dinner, you're gonna have a family, a birthday, and you're all gonna show up, and then people will be looking at your spouse the side of their eyes, and you're trying to figure out, and you've passed that. So you have to be
Mhm.
so careful who you vent to, who you share to. But there are spaces and people that you can go to do that. So definitely, if you're here, you're not in our marriage club as yet, join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Connect with us there. Go ahead. Link is in the description. Join us for in our Unique Couples Marriage Club. And as always, we encourage our audience. We encourage you to, make sure you know first of all who you are and what you need and what your needs and wants are, so that you can be able to first of all know what it is, so that you'll be able to express it properly, and then of course be there for your spouse as well. Because sometimes we are, projecting all of this negative, and it's and just concentrating on what your spouse is doing wrong, because we haven't really come to grips with what we want and who we are as a person. And so make sure you're right with you first. And then, of course, work on you, like Kim said, with all of these different things that you can do to make your relationship better. Yes. So, any final words, Kim? And let our viewing audience, our listening audience, know how they can connect with you, these ladies, how they can reach out to you, and find out more about what you offer.
Sure. You're probably hearing my noisemakers at the moment. But anyway, you can get me at, well, you can send me an email if you'd like, kim
Okay.
at overtheandes.com, or you can find me on Facebook. So if you check Kim Kendall De Silva, you will find me. I have a Facebook group as well. It's called Mom's Marriage and Relationships Bringing the Love Back. So those are all places where you can find me.
Awesome, awesome. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, our Unique Couples community, we are so thankful that we had Kim Kendall De Silva with us today, sharing on those amazing strategies that you can do to reconnect with your spouse. It's a brand new year, a brand new you, and you want your relationship to be spankingly hot too. So definitely go ahead, use those tips to make your relationship great. We love you all. Continue to share because you never know who needs it. Just go ahead and share. This is powerful information that will definitely change your marriage and your life if you want it to. So this has been Unique Couples Marriage. Club Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. We are building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families. Go ahead and connect, and we will see you again Sunday night right here on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. Love you all. Thank you, Kim.
You're
And we
welcome.
definitely will have some more of these conversations, right?
I
Okay.
think
Awesome.
so.
Thank you, Kim.